Welcome back to the show, beautiful. I'm so excited to sit down and record this episode, actually. It's one that I've been working on for a couple of weeks because I feel like it is multifaceted. I really wanted to make sure I was bringing you all of the in-depth information for you to walk away with and implement. Otherwise, it was going to be more of a surface level episode, and I didn't feel called to bring that to you. Like, I really wanted to share the things that I feel like I have done and do on a consistent basis in order to show up and be inside my most confident self. Now, I wasn't born with confidence. It's something people say that they admire about what I do now daily, whether that's on social media, whether that's on the podcast, whether that's on a video. They say you are so confident in what you do. And I was not born this way. I didn't wake up just, exuding this confidence, right? And I'm actually going to share 5 things that confident women have to quit in order to show up as their best self, right? In order to show up confidently. And it's something that you will see as we go along. It's got many different layers to it. Now, confidence can look and feel different for everyone, right? It doesn't necessarily mean showing up and showing your face in an online capacity or recording something. But if you've been drawn to this episode to learn how to do that, maybe you want to be more visible in your business, maybe you want to walk the stage and do, speaking gigs, or whether you just want to show up more confidently within yourself, like in your clothes, in your body, in a public setting. You can take or leave whatever resonates with you, like every bit of information out there. Things are going to land in here, and you're like, oh, I'm going to take that. I'm going to take that. Oh, that feels really good. I'm going to take that. So just know the information that I'm sharing with you today, some of it will resonate and some of it won't. And that's completely okay. So to talk about my own confidence, I guess you could say I've done the reps. I think about 15 years ago, I was really reflecting on this. I picked up my phone, and I would just start recording on Snapchat. This was before Instagram was around. And because I had this deep passion within me that I wanted to share what I was discovering along the way in my own health. And it's evolved a lot over time. But I was sharing, health and wellness advice, mindset tips. And back then it was just to my friends. And I remember thinking, even though I wasn't fully confident then, I just remember having this deep knowing that I wanted to share this information. So it came across that I was confident because it was something that I was passionate about. So if you're really passionate about something, confidence will naturally form just from that space. And if you don't know, I've had a 10 or 12-year career in media, in radio and television, as a journalist and also a radio announcer, and many other things inside that space. So I guess I've done the reps there as well, right? Like, I have learnt to be in front of a camera. I've learnt to be behind a microphone. I've learnt to be critiqued from other people, outsiders looking in. I have learnt to, not take criticism so personally. I've been in the public eye, and so I feel like I can really bring you valuable information here. So you can literally get yourself to the place to show up more confidently. Like I said, whatever that looks like for you, it's going to look and feel differently for everyone. Doesn't mean that you have to be walking stages to be confident. It just might mean in your everyday life, or being more confident in your mothering, being more confident as a partner, like whatever works for you. So these are 5 things I had to quit, and I've seen other women have to quit in order to operate as a confident person. So let's get straight into it. Number 1, they quit caring what people think about them. This is the biggest one, right? The biggest one. If we start thinking about everyone else's opinion of us, we would stay at home and curl up in a ball and not do anything, right? And I feel like that is what holds so many people back. Like, I've talked to lots of women who want to be more visible and show up and be more empowering in their business, or do the things that they're just scared to do, the big goals, the big dreams, right? But they think, what is Auntie Sue going to think about me? What is that person from school going to think about me when they see what I'm doing? What is that opinion that that person's going to have that, doesn't agree with what I'm saying? Like, that is a huge one. And that stumps so many people and almost paralyzes them from ever moving forward. And I was talking to my sister about this the other day because she wants to be more visible in her business. She's a beautiful brand designer. And the biggest thing is stopping her is, what will people think of me? What will people think? And I said to her, I wouldn't have done anything that I've ever done in my whole career if I let the opinions of others dictate what I do. Because I know sometimes I look at my socials and I can kind of see who's looking. You will never know. You will never know who's actually looking and what their opinions are of you. But sometimes I see my auntie. I see my brother-in-law's mum. I see people that I haven't seen in so many years, for like back in high school. I see people looking and I'm like, oh, and it is a little part inside of me where I go, oh, wonder what that person thinks of me. But then I have to let that go, because I would never, ever do one thing any day in a visible public setting if I let the opinions of others dictate that. And having said that, you actually don't even know what they're thinking. It's funny how our brains automatically go to, that person must think this negative thing about me. But what if that person is actually looking at you, whether that's out in public, whether that's on a stage, whether that's on social media, and think, wow, she's so inspiring. Oh my goodness, what she said just landed. That was such a valuable piece of information. I remember someone saying this once. When you walk into a room or when you show up online, you can say, everyone loves me, they just don't know it yet. If you have that attitude that everyone's going to love you and not hate you, how differently would you act? Wouldn't you just walk into a room and just exude confidence? Wouldn't you just show up confidently going, these people, they don't know me yet, but they're about to love me. They just don't know that. They're about to love me because what I have to offer is so valuable, and they're going to love what I say. It's funny how our brains automatically go to the negative. What's that person over there looking at me for? Oh my gosh, have I got something on my nose? What is that person thinking about me over there? Are they staring at my body? We have it's all our own thoughts, right? It's all our own inner dialogue that gets reflected on the outside. And chances are those people are thinking about themselves, or they're wishing that they could do what you're doing. You will I remember Madeline Carafa was saying this in her recent podcast episode. She was saying, you have no idea what other people are thinking about you. You have no idea. You have no idea unless you went and interviewed everyone that you saw, which would be impossible. You have no idea what people are thinking about you. So start switching your brain to, they're thinking positive things about me. They're thinking inspiring things about me. They're thinking uplifting things about me. And start rewiring those thoughts and flipping the script to, they're saying amazing things about me. So I really hope that lands. Madeline was also saying, it was really interesting actually, she was saying that her auntie used to talk about people behind their back. So she grew up thinking people would talk about her. And that landed so much in my mind because my dad used to talk about everyone. And probably still does. So we would sit in the car. I remember would be, whatever we were doing, we'd be sitting in the car, and Dad would say really critical things about people walking past on the footpath. Like he would make, comments about people's bodies. He would, say things actually out loud as well while the window was down. And we were always like, Dad, like, you can't say those things. And we naturally grew up thinking people were talking about us. Like that is a deeply ingrained thing. So maybe you can relate to that too. Maybe one of your family members used to do the same thing. So you naturally think people are going to do that to you too. And let's all reflect on Mel Robbins' theory, right? Let them. Let's leave on this one. Let them. You have no idea what people are saying. And if they're going to say something negative, let them. Let them. Because it is their own internal system, their own internal dialogue. And it's none of your business. It is none of your business. It's a reflection of them, not you. So you have to make that divide, that whatever they're saying, it's about them and less about you. So number one, confident women quit caring what people think about them. That's one you're going to have to do the reps on. and remind yourself, even before you go to do the thing, whether you are about to go to an event, whether you're about to stand on stage, whether you're about to record something, film something, whether you are about to walk into a room of people, whatever it is, just keep reminding yourself about that, about those points. And people love you. Everyone loves you. They just don't know it yet. Number 2, they quit apologizing for taking up space. This is a big one. Peter Crone shared a good example recently on social media, and it really landed. And I really took it with me, actually. I remember this woman, he was interviewing this woman or chatting with this woman, and she said, "Sorry, I won't take up much of your time." And she kept saying it a few times. "Sorry, I won't take up much of your time." How many times have we all said that? "Sorry, I won't take up much of your time." And he actually pulled her up on it. And it turns out it was coming from low self-worth. It was coming from a really, really low, state of confidence, right? It was barely there, barely existent, because she didn't think she was worthy of chatting to Peter. She didn't think she was worthy of taking up space and being in that moment. So she apologized. How many times do we do that at like a waitress? I used to be scared to ask for what I want on the menu. If I was talking to asking for a certain requirement on the menu, I'd be like, "Oh, sorry, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but can we just do this, or can we change this? Or sorry, we're apologizing for taking up their space." So every time you do that, you're actually telling yourself that you don't matter. You're not worthy of that time and that space. So that's one thing you can quit and take it out of your dialogue. I won't take up much of your time. I have people say this to me now, and I actually pull them up on it too. I'm like, "It's okay. You can take up all the space. You're worthy of my time. It's okay." And even when I go to say it sometimes, because it's so deeply ingrained, I pull myself up on it too. So just remember that one. Quit saying, "I won't take up much of your time." It's really funny. I had this thought the other day of taking up space. Like, I really wanted to like up level and upgrade my social media presence, right? I wanted to start saying things that were on my heart, and I wanted to take up more space, right? That's really, really big in itself. Like, that requires you to dive into your courage. That encourages you to be in that discomfort, and that requires you to take up space and put yourself out there. And it was on this particular morning, I was going for a run with the dog, and I had my headphones in, and I was running, and I had my music going, and then I felt this presence beside me, and it was this guy on one of those big heavy bikes that are getting around with the big, like, kind of leather seats, the big black heavy bikes, and he had a little girl on the back, and she would have only been 5 or 6, and I turned my head and I said, "Good morning," and in that moment, as he was saying good morning to me, he lost track of where his bike tires were going, and the bike tires slipped down between the footpath and the nature strip, and basically they fell over. They came crashing down onto the footpath. I can still hear the sounds that it made when they came down, and instantly my thought was, I was taking up too much space. I was taking up too much space. And that was on a physical level, right? Like, I was taking up too much space in the footpath. That's why they had to go around me. And then they fell over. Ultimately, when I calmed myself down and rewired my thought process about that, it was a pure accident, right? I was out running. I had the dog with me. This guy was trying to overtake me. We'd had a little interaction of saying good morning. He lost where he was going with his bike tire, and he fell over. And I had to help them up. I kind of got them in a better state because they were a bit rattled. And then when I ran off, I was like, I took up too much space. I was taking up too much space on that footpath. And it was the exact morning that I was like, I need to take up more space. I'm taking up more space in the online world. I'm taking up more space in the work that I'm doing in this world. And I kind of laughed to myself, and I thought, thank you, universe. Thank you for reminding me that I'm not taking up too much space. And look, I don't know if I did or not. Like, he didn't say, have a go at me, or that I was actually physically taking out space. But there was so much I could have taken from that, right? Everything is just happening for us. We just don't know it yet. Even just something like that bike accident, it was something so minor. I hope they're okay. They did ride off, and I was like, oh, I hope you're okay. However, like that was as if that was not planted in my awareness and in my morning for a reason. And it actually gone like 200 meters further than when I usually turn around. And it happened in that little gap of the 200 meters that I would never usually go. So I'm like, hello, that literally happened for me at the moment that it did to teach me that little lesson, because that's what I got out of it. I'm not taking up too much space. I'm not taking up too much space. So it was number 2, they quit apologizing for taking up space. Number 3, they quit seeing themselves as small. This is big one. Your self-perception is everything, right? Your words create your reality. What you're saying to yourself is reflected back to you. It is a mirror. Everything that you think will always be reflected back to you. So if you're walking around telling yourself you're a bad mom, you're a bad partner, you're a bad business owner, you are a bad friend, that will be your own self-perception, right? Or I am shy, I am not confident, bringing it back to the confidence. If we do that, like if I walked around telling myself those things, I would never show up. If I was like, oh my God, I'm just like, I'm not a confident person. And like, this is, I don't deserve to be showing my face. Like this is going to fail. I'm no one wants to hear what I have to say. Like if I'm walking around like that, I can't show up as a confident person. I can't show up visibly and do what I'm doing. So we have to teach our brain what we are, what we want to create. You can create if you want to be a confident person, you can be a confident person. It just takes a decision. It just takes one decision. I am confident, or I'm learning, I'm growing. I am a beautiful business owner. I show up with confidence daily. I am building something meaningful. I'm allowed to take up space. I'm capable of challenging things. I'm a devoted mother. I'm a beautiful friend. Whatever it is up to you to rewire those thoughts, because that will come back to you. So I say all the time, I am confident. I show up confidently. Everyone loves what I've got to say. I am building something meaningful. I'm allowed to take up space. As Georgie Stevenson says, I'm actually doing her Conscious Creators membership at the moment. It is amazing. She says, as within, so without. It's actually a famous quote, but she was mentioning this. As within, so without. So remember, what's going on the inside will always be reflected on the outside. If you want to do a little task of self-perception, right? If you're not sure what people think of you and what they perceive of you, I actually did this really interesting little task recently. It was actually as I was getting to know my partner. We were asking each other questions, like get to know you questions. And one of them was, what do your friends think of you? Like, how would your friends describe you, right? Like your closest friendship circle, how would they describe you? So I sent out a message to 5 of my closest friends and I wrote, hello. Literally wrote them a text out of the blue. I wrote, hello, beautiful. This might sound a little left field, but I'd love to know, how would you describe me? The good, the bad, the ugly. Thank you. Kiss, kiss. I literally sent that out to them. And I had literal tears with some of the responses, how some of my friends described me. And it was the most like feel good, kind of reassuring thing. And I was happy for them to be like, oh, look, you can be a little selfish, whatever it was. I was happy with that. Like I wanted to know what they think of me. And yes, your friends are going to say, nice things, but I did put it to them, like the good, the bad, the ugly, like tell me everything. And they came back with some of the most beautiful responses. I've actually saved them in my phone. I'm going to teach this to you as well. So another thing that I do, so that's self-perception. Another thing that I do to show up confidently tap into my internal world first is I surround myself with people who are already doing what I want to do, right? So on the way here, so I now drive to my partner's house to do this podcast episode. On the way here, I was listening to some of my favorite gals at the moment who I'm surrounding myself with. That's Madeline Carafa, Georgie Stevenson, her work. And I was listening to their podcast and absorbing their content, right? And I was doing the Conscious Creator program and I was listening to hers. And I'm stepping into her energy now. Like I'm tapping into her energy. I'm like, how would she show up right now? What would she say? How would she hold herself? Like, what does her confidence look like? And I really tapped into that. I did a few deep breaths before jumping into here, and I really tapped into her energy. I tapped into Maddie's energy. Maybe you're watching this and you can tap into my energy. We all, I always learned this, even when you work with someone or you listen to someone's content, you're in their field of energy. So you can tap into their energy. That's when I'm hiring coaches. I don't care what their credentials are. I don't care how many followers they've got on Instagram. I tap into their energy. I'm like, I want a bit of her energy for me. Like I want to tap into her energy and funnel into her energy. And that's how I'm going to get further in my business, my health, my relationships, whatever it is. Like I'm tapping into their energy. Energy is everything. It speaks before anything else does. So yeah, if I jumped on here today and was like, oh my God, I'm going to mumble my words and I'm going to get tongue twisted and this is not going to come out exactly as I want to, like I'm creating that. So instead I was like, this is going to come out so beautifully and it's going to flow out of my mouth and I'm going to channel exactly what I want to say. Number 4, confident women, they quit procrastinating on their dreams and goals. One of my favorite quotes, feel the fear and do it anyway, and done is better than perfect. So when you're learning to be more confident and when you're learning to show up, feel the fear and do it anyway. If you're about to go on a date and you're like paralyzed in your car and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm just not confident enough to walk into this room and see this guy for the first time. And what is he going to think about me? And what am I going to think about him? All these things, feel the fear and do it anyway. Take a deep breath and just do it. If you feel the fear before you're about to record a video, just feel the fear and do it anyway. And then remember, done is better than perfect. Nothing has to be perfect. Again, I was saying to my sister, if I waited to everything was perfect in everything that I do, I would get nothing done. Nothing done. Nothing would ever be done. When I was creating naturally well, it was flowing out of me at rapid speed. I was telling myself on the hour, done is better than perfect, done is better than perfect, done is better. And the content was just coming out. And it's like one of my biggest babies I've ever birthed and like so proud of it. And it's been resonating with a lot of women. That had to happen, right? If I was waiting for perfect videos, perfect content, perfect words that was coming out of my mouth, perfectly created or curated, all of those things, I would never do it. So I'm like, done is better than perfect. Done is better than perfect. Before every video, feel the fear and do it anyway. Just do it. Just do it. So that's one thing. That's one hack, actually, of showing up confidently. Just do it. Make the decision and just do it. And do it messy because it's always going to be okay. Sometimes I say, oh, I'll come back and fix that later. You never come back and fix that later. And I was doing, I shared recently, I had a beautiful reading with the intuitive Jess Patterson. She's actually on the podcast soon. And she was saying the other day, she really reflected something back to me when I was talking to her about things, when I wanted to show up more and wanted to do all these things. I was getting frustrated that things weren't happening. And she said, girlfriend, you've got a podcast. You have got a business. You do all of these things that you're already you're doing so much. And she's like, remind yourself, I showed up today. The rest doesn't matter. I showed up today. And it wasn't perfect. It wasn't, polished. I showed up today. The rest doesn't matter. When I put a video out there, when I upload something on YouTube, whatever I'm doing, I have to disconnect from that outcome because I'm like, I am proud for showing up. I'm proud for posting it. I'm proud for publishing that thing. The rest doesn't matter. The rest does not matter. And you might have a vulnerability hangover, by the way. I say this all the time. Sometimes I will share and I'll share vulnerably. And then there's this thing called a vulnerability hangover when you start going over every word and everything that you did. And you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I shared that. Did I actually share that? It's called a vulnerability hangover, and that's okay. If you're having those, celebrate it because it means you've been vulnerable. And vulnerability will increase your confidence because it's telling you, it's instilling this inner self-trust that you're doing what you say you're going to do. When you do and honor what you say you're going to do, that builds self-trust, and self-trust builds confidence. Just keep remembering that. If you want to do something, the fastest way to be confident is to do the thing that you said you're going to do. Just do it. Because that is when you build momentum. That's when you build that inner trust, and that's when you build confidence. Okay, the next one, number 5, they quit skating around what they want and they just ask for it. If you want to be more confident, Melissa Ambrosini says you've got to practice the 3 C's, crystal clear communication in your business, in your career, in your relationships with your kids, colleagues. Ask for what you want. That's going to build confidence because chances are people will do the thing for you. How many times you're like, I don't really want to do that thing. I don't really want to ask that person for something. I don't really want to take up space. I don't really want to take up their time. When you know that you're worthy of asking for help and asking for what you want, that builds that confidence inside yourself. When people ask me, how I've got so many things over the years, I've just said, I've just asked for it. I've just asked for it. If I want something, I'll just ask for it. I remember when I moved interstate from Victoria to Sunshine Coast, and I was in a job at the time that I really wanted to keep, and I was already working remotely for them, and I just said, I'm moving interstate. I want to keep this job. I was so clear. And they found a way for me to keep my job. And I moved interstate and I kept it for 2 years after that because I just asked for it. Instead of just assuming or being like, oh God, what if they say no? Oh my gosh, what if I'm going, what if I'm going to put them out because I'm moving? Oh, maybe I'll just quit. No, I just asked. This is what I want. And that builds confidence. Like I said, when you're at a restaurant, practice this. If you want something altered on that menu, ask for it. Ask for it. Can I have this gluten-free? Does this come in dairy-free? What kind of oils do you use? Be confident. When you ask for a coffee, what kind of oat milk do you use? What kind of soy milk do you use? I just want to make sure that there's no seed oils in this. Be confident. And even if you tremble while you're saying it, you will do the reps and it will come out. Another thing I just wanted to add as well, a little bonus one. I don't have this in my notes, but it just intuitively dropped into my thoughts as I'm talking, is once you've done all this internal work, right? Once you've started, telling yourself that you've got this and you're a beautiful, confident woman and you're allowed to take up space, start showing up as her now. So if you're thinking, okay, I want to tap into her now, how would she show up? How would she show up right now, the confident woman that I want to be? Would she just pick up the phone and start recording? Would she just go and ask someone if she could do a speaking gig or do more public speaking? Would she show up in a beautiful, confident outfit and just walk into a room and own it? Would she wear something a bit different, a bit out there? Like, what would she do now? Reverse engineer it. If you could picture your highest, best, most confident self right now, what is she doing? What are her thoughts? What are her beliefs? How is she living? What's her lifestyle? How is she dressing? Think about every minute detail that she's doing and then choose to be her now. Just choose it. It's just one decision away. What would she do right now? What would she do in this situation? How would she live today? What kind of decisions is she making in her day? How is she communicating to people? How is she holding herself? Think about that. Be her now. I really hope you've enjoyed this episode. I would love to hear your thoughts. Jump over to my Instagram at Hayley_Morcom and let me know your biggest takeaways. I'd love to hear from you. And for all the notes from today's episode, check the show notes underneath this episode description. If you found today's episode helpful, please share it with a friend who might need to hear this. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. And of course, please leave an epic review. It truly helps me get this podcast out to as many amazing souls just like you. Until next time, keep glowing, keep growing, and remember, you are so worthy of feeling amazing in your body and mind. Mwah.